feed these hungry gamers. They want their content and they want their news. Alright, I got them. Hello viewers, mornings. Another beautiful day. Yep, hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good or excellent. But look, open world games are the best. Okay, open world games are the best. And I told you that you need DLCs and expansions now to build games. There's no such thing anymore as like coming out with a base game and then that's it. Okay, games like Cyberpunk, games like Anthem, games like the Avengers, you need DLCs and expansions to build those games, right? And you're like, okay, why are you saying that? And even Anthem, listen to this. Live service games get ditched too soon by big publishers, Warframe boss says. You know Warframe is that free-to-play game on the Xbox One and PS4, right? Live service games get ditched too soon by big publishers, Warframe boss says. It says, you get terrified when you see the numbers drop. Yeah, that's what fake gamers do. They have a tendency to panic and try to act like games can't be fixed. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Publishers hoping to launch the world's next big live service game often give up on projects too soon. The boss of Warframe developer Digital Extreme has said, live service game with so launch could still be salvaged with more work. Digital Extreme's Steve Sinclair told VGC, rather than moving on and ditching years of progress, they think the release makes here's what they said to these people that are crying, these gamers. They think the release is make or break, and it's not. Yeah, so to all those people that were getting mad at let's see, Redfall, Anthem, DC Universe, not DC Universe, the Avengers, who else? Suicide Squad, Killer Justice League, those people. It says here, they have a financial way to be persistent, and they never do it. Says here, Sinclair says, it comes out, doesn't work, and they throw it away. So you know those YouTube channels that they have a tendency to be attacking live service games? This article is referring to them and the audience that follows them. Listen to this. It says here, Warframe, which originally launched in 2013, is still going strong a decade on. But plenty of other live service games end up shutting down in just a fraction of time. Marvel Avengers, published by Square Enix in 2020, is a recent example of this. Anthem from Dragon Age and Mass Effect Studios BioWare is another. And currently, there are concerns from fans that due to low player numbers, Rocksteady Suicide Squad will be next. And after its first year of content concludes. It says, isn't that a shame when you put so many years of your life into iterating on these systems, are building technology, are building the start of a community, and because the operating costs are high, you get terrified when you see the numbers and drop and you leave. Sinclair continues. He says, we've seen this with amazing release that I think have massive potential. And I think they eject too soon. Presumably, Sinclair isn't reflecting on Digital Extreme's own business decision here, such as its cancellation of the amazing Eternal, formerly Keystone, a free-to-play online first-person shooters it ditched in 2017, less than 2 months after it launched in the beta. The competitive landscape at that time was pretty hefty. Digital Extreme's Meredith Braun said at the time, we just saw Cliff Basinski made online FPS. Lawbreakers not do so great, and it was a fantastic game. So that was sad. That happened right when we were starting our closed beta for Amazing Eternals. And then it says, this weekend we learned that Warframe's 1999 expansion has a shopping mall romance system, and you even get to fight a boy band. It says here, and that's it. That's the end of the article. Yeah, live service games get ditched too easy. You know, they give up too quickly. They give up too fast, and it's because of these fans online. When they go on Twitter and they attack a game, they try to act like the game can never be fixed, and it can be fixed. You just need DLCs and expansions to do it. And CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk shows that it can be done. So with games like Anthem, Avengers, who else? What's that? Suicide Squad. They can be fixed. They just need DLCs and expansions. And this ties into now the taking the game offline so you can fix it and then try to bring it back on. You never want to do that, because you lose your momentum. You lose your momentum when you do that. You've seen that with Multiverse. You know, when they took the game offline and and when they brought it back, it never got the response that it once had. So, in order to fix today's game, and this is where communication comes in. The developers got to talk to the users, and the users got to talk to the developers, and that's how you fix a lot of games. So all this anger, a lot of it is really nonsense, because a lot of people make complaints about something they don't understand, and they never explain it. They never explain it. Like, for instance, I could bring the Wii U situation into this too. When people were saying, oh, it was sales, it was marketing, it was branding, all that. And the answer to the problem was Nintendo was trying to serve two formats at the same time, and it didn't work because they didn't get the same results that they were looking for. And the other answer to that equation was to move the 3DS out the way, because you don't need it anymore. It's crap, and you need to focus on the Virtual Console and the Wii U games and update all the games from the 3DS, the Wii, and the GameCube. And that was the answer. It wasn't sales, marketing, or branding like people want to make it out to be. But anyway, but to these games though, these games need DLCs and expansions to build them. Okay, gone were the days now where you just when you release a game, and just because you release the game, that's it. Not in today's games, man. Today's games, you need DLCs and expansion to fix them. You really do. And Anthem has potential. Anthem has a lot of potential. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has a lot of potential. What's the other one? Redfall has a lot of potential. That game is not dead by any means, though. That game is not dead, or it died, or that game is not dead. That game needs DLCs and expansions to keep it going. So, and for those people that still got that game, be glad you did, because they might be dropping little updates here and there along the way. So, the game, today's games, man, you need DLCs and expansions to build them now. Okay, the old ways of video games are dead now, where you just build a game and then that's it. Today's games now, since they're open world now, and there's a lot of angles that you have to cover, and a lot of movement, a lot of directions that you got to cover in today's games, you need DLCs and expansion to fix them. You know, and a lot of these people that are throwing this anger, they need to tone it down a little and look a little and try to give the developers what's that? Some advice, you know, on how to fix the game, and this is where communication comes in, man. So yeah, Anthem, Redfall, what's that? Suicide Squad, the Avengers. They need DLCs and expansion. For instance, in the Avengers, in that first scene alone, I can break the whole thing down. In that first scene alone, when you're battling on the bridge, you couldn't fly outside the bridge on the right. You couldn't fly outside the bridge on the left. You couldn't fly under it. You couldn't fly like this around it, right? You couldn't fly like this around it, right? And you couldn't fly like this around it, right? You couldn't fly to the top of the bridge. Couldn't even do that in the game. Okay? You couldn't fly to the top of the bridge and then jump off into the bay and then fly out of it. You couldn't do none of that. Okay? You couldn't fly to the top of a high-rise building. You couldn't fly to the top of a high-rise building. So you're sitting there, you're like, this game is not done. Okay? And you saw that when you were in the city streets and you were going down the street, and then you saw those platforms, and you thought that was for Captain America or something. And that needs work, right? But you couldn't fly onto the top of those buildings in the city streets. The game needs DLCs and expansions to be worked. So that game, a game like that, you cannot take it offline and then try to fix it and then try to bring it back. You have to keep it online, and communications between the developers and the users need to be on a rapid basis, man. It need to be instant. Okay. Look at Anthem. The only problem with Anthem is that you can't fly to the clouds above your home base. That's one part of the game that needs to be fixed, and it needs some DLCs, expansion, and some story. And that's it. Okay. Suicide Squad is an open world game, but it might need a new combat. It might need a new combat system, and the story needs to be expanded. It needs a new the characters. The characters they need more combat mechanics, and that's it. Just saying. So who else? Redfall just needs some needs some updates. That's all that game really needs, man. You know, needs some updates, and the environment might need to be expanded more. But by no means are those games. But by no means those games are a failure, man. The only reason why people say it's a failure because those people that was creating all that commotion, they be thinking that they run the video game industry, and they be thinking that video games cannot be fixed. Just saying. So yeah, you know, they have they create a loud uproar. Okay, what's the uproar about? Okay, what is it about? And then when you figure it out, you're like, okay, you're trying to act like the game can't be fixed. I've seen YouTubers try to criticize, made fun of Anthem while they're playing it, and they were sitting there acting like the game could not be fixed. Those games need DLC expansion. So in an open world game, there's different movements, different explorations that you got to do, and all that got to be in the games that you're dealing with. So the open world games, man, they can be fixed. And according to this, according to the Warframe, what's his name, Steve Sinclair, he's right. You know, he said, look, they think the release is make or break, man. They think the release is make or break, and it's not. And it says they have a financial way to be persistent, and they never do it. Sinclair said it comes out, doesn't work, and they throw it away. Developers got to start. Developers got to learn to see games all the way through. They have to learn. They have to learn to see games all the way through. Take Rocksteady again with Batman: Arkham Asylum. Months ago, I said to people months ago, Batman: Arkham Asylum needs the Arkham City engine in it, so I can latch on to any part of the environment. I had people telling me in the comments like, no, that won't work. Okay, look at Look at Batman Arkham Origins from the WB Games. That game needs DLC and expansion. For instance, you can't even get to the top of the Joker's plaza. There's a gargoyle sitting on the building, the Joker's plaza. You can't get to the very top of it. Can't get to it. You can't get to the top of the light tower that Hugo Strange was in Batman Arkham City. The light tower just sits there. You can go inside it, but you can't ride the elevator all the way up, and you can't get to the top of it, to where you can like fly off of it and then land on top of the bridge, land on top of the bridge and then go where you want to, or land on top of any of the buildings. You can't do that. So that game needs DLC and expansions. Okay, the same thing goes for Arkham City. You can get to the top of the Hugo Strange tower, but here's the thing: when you jump off of it now, you can't land on any specific building you want to. So Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Origins, they need DLCs and updates. Those games, and I've been saying to people for months, days and even weeks now, those games are not done. They're not finished. Just saying. So you can't give up on today's games, you know, just because you're worried about you know, live service, and you're gonna worry about the pushback that you got to get. You have to see that game all the way through. Crystal Dynamics should have never given up on the Avengers. They should have, because they had more work to do. Look at Warframes. Look at DC Universe. That game gets updates on a regular basis because they never gave up on it. So live service games, man, are not dead, man. Live service games are not dead. It's just like a lot of review critics. They have a tendency to think when a game comes out, it is make or break, and that's not how video games work. You have to see it all the way through. Okay, today's games, you need DLCs and expansions to build today's games, because now you're in an open world environment, and there's a lot of angles and directions and movements that you got to cover, and a lot of interactions and a lot of player mechanics that you got to cover. So yeah, live service games are not dead, man. You know, they just need DLCs and expansions, and that's it, man. So the Steve Sinclair of Warframes, he's right. You know, he's right, man. Today's games, they need you have to use DLCs and expansion, man. And look what CD Projekt Red went through when the game came out. The gamers came out with their pitchforks and their bats and everything, coming after CD Projekt Red. But did CD Projekt Red give up on the game? Nope. They kept adding DLC expansions and update. And look at Cyberpunk now. Just saying, man. So today's developers got to stop giving up on today's developers. You know, they got to stop giving up on games, especially when they know that the game needs update, man. They got to stop falling into the trap just because people on Twitter or gamers on Twitter says this game is a failure. Most people that say that game is a failure, they don't know video games. Most people that said the Wii U is a failure, they don't know video games. They might put on the facade like they know video games, but they really don't. Because if you talk to people about the Wii U right now, they'll say it's a gimmick, it didn't stand a chance, it was sales, it was marketing, it was branding. They will use all that excuses, but they never sat there and studied a console. They never took the Wii U and put it side by side with a 3DS and then put put the Wii U side by side with the 3DS and the Virtual Console, and they never studied those three to see what was really happening. None of them did it. Okay, so a lot of them that's covering video games, they act like they know it, but they really don't. They never really studied the thing. And right now, guess what? The Wii U is still current, just like the PlayStation 5 with the Portal, still current, because there's a lot of functionality and utilization in video games that needs to be taken advantage of. You know, that gamers need to use. It ain't just about taking a controller and then sitting in front of the screen and then that's it. There's more to video games than just that. So yeah, Warframe, games like Anthem, Redfall, Suicide Squad, The Avengers, they're not dead by any means. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars, Star Trek, board, Dark Side. Go. Peace.